Welcome everybody, it's the final round, round 8 of the Anstor Racing Sports Car Series. We've got two titles to decide, LMP3 and GT4, both very close, both up for contention, particularly GT4, the leaders, separated by only 4 points, with Sven Demil in P1 and Joni Nemi in P2. It's going to be a great battle to watch there. We've got obviously standard qualifying. It's going to be 12 minutes per class. I've had a nice chunk of practice before that as well for the drivers to get used to the track, and then followed by the usual 45-minute race. You can see the weather conditions on screen there: 25 degrees temperature, 38 humidity, so not too hot. 11 km/h wind could be interesting as well, and it looks like track temperature is at 40 degrees, so pretty standard. Shouldn't expect anything too different here. Bit of a different track this week, not very often raced in iRacing. A great track, very great for overtaking. I think we'll see a very, very competitive session here today. Alright, this is GT4 qualifying, all of them on their outlaps now, as you can see, so ready to watch along, see who can do what. Joni and Sven are the two drivers that we're watching in the Porsche and the BMW. This is Joni at the moment, championship second place runner-up at the moment, 4 points behind the leader, with plenty of points on offer today. These two just need to make sure they finish in front of the other and they'll be fine. Obviously easier said than done in a very competitive class. Only 2 drivers in GT4 to have won a race are the leaders, first and second place. We've had other people finishing ahead of them in different rounds on the podium ahead of them, but always been one of them that wins. Can someone make a difference today while these two are just focusing on each other? Outlap still, we can see him coming towards the end of a lap. A couple of drivers a bit closer. Yanni trying to get his car in the perfect condition for that first run. A 12-minute session. Lap times probably around 2 minutes. Sort of between, it's not particularly long lap, not particularly short lap in the GT4. Wasn't in for practice, so not sure exactly what they're going to be. But we've seen it's taken about 1:40 for the out lap, so potentially slightly shorter than that for the hot lap. So let's see, not many laps that the drivers are going to get. Here we go. Done turn 1, done turn 2. I think this is turn 3. Not quite sure of a corner number. Difficult corner push all the way to the exit. He's able to do that. Run down now to the heaviest braking zone, potentially hairpin, sweeping hairpin. This will be a great little area for overtaking in the race. Now, big long straight again into another heavy braking zone towards the end of the lap. And Valtteri gone quicker than Yanni in sector 1. Yanni currently fastest in sector 2, and he's holding that to Valtteri, who was the second quickest driver so far throughout the lap. Coming up towards the final little straight before we get back onto the main straight. He's a little bit wide there. Not sure if he invalidated. Looks like he's pushing on, so probably not. Another difficult long corner here. It goes on much longer than expected. Keeps it nice and tight to open up the next hairpin. Now a short little acceleration zone straight into the braking zone here. For the final 2 corners, almost taken as one big sweep, and then a big sweep into the second one. Not much to do in between. Keeps it nice and tight, uses as much curve as he can on the exit, which he does, and now it's just a run to the line. He was fastest in sector 3 as well. What's it going to be in sector 4? Fastest so far, only driver to have set a time, of course. A 1:34.29. What's it going to be? Yeah, that's quickest so far by quite a margin. Valtteri in P2. 1:34.527. And Sven goes P3 with 0.145 seconds behind the leader. That's important to know, especially with Valtteri being... Oh no, sorry, that's more than 0.45 to P3 for P2. So about 3/4... Sorry about my maths there we go. That'll help me. About 4/10 of a gap he has to the leader. So he's going to find some time, because he can't really afford to not start second if his rival's on pole. And this is Yanni, and he's going quicker than he has done previously, but someone else has just stolen the fastest second sector of the lap. I wonder who that is. The sole McLaren driver, 2.2 seconds off the leader. Valtteri in second place has gone quickest in the second sector, but yellow in the third sector. It's going to be interesting to see how the tyres hold up around here with all these long corners. It might be worth having a couple of cool down laps at some point. We can see a test message from race control there coming through, but that is just a test message to make sure that they know the system is working. Before we get into the race as well, big thanks to Steve, who's been running race control pretty much all season for us on his own. So absolutely great. A bit short-staffed at the moment, so if anyone is interested in helping out, feel free to get in touch. But great job to Steve there running race control pretty much all season for us. And Sven goes up to P2 then. Pretty much 1/10, 0.111 seconds off of Yanni's time. Yanni did improve as well, I believe. So interesting to see what the improvements are going to be going into the third lap now, because that's when we could see a little bit of difference. Charlie, don't think he's been racing with us much this season. Great livery designer, I have to say, and he's done Joe's as well. Here we go, the McLaren driver, purple in the second sector, but slower than his previous lap in the first and third. What's it going to be? Final corner. What can the McLaren do? Looks like it's going to be a bit closer, but still a decent chunk off, I think, when he comes across the line. If the time to update, 1.9 seconds takes a big chunk off his time gap. There's still more to come from him. Looks like no one is improving massively out there at the moment. We've got a lot of yellow sectors and at best greens.
Still way too early to tell who is actually going to get the pole. Of course, I'll need the actual championship leaders are a 10th between each other. But still 6 minutes to go before the GT4 qualifying ends and the LMP3 class starts their qualifying. As we now see Valtteri Kallio already 2 tenths behind of Yoniemi's time. So they are still improving. No one has been pitting, I think they still keep doing their laps.
Yeah, no one coming into the pits, which does surprise me. Joe Tabner's been into the pits. That's the only car in the Aston Martin. Charlie Lord into the pits, also in the Aston Martin. Yoni has done a fastest Sector 1 then. So he's found some time, but he's yellow in Sector 2. No one else improving still, it looks like. Green in Sector 3 for Yoni. Valtteri, yellow and yellow. So it doesn't look like too many improvements at the moment. Yellow, yellow, yellow for Valtteri. So unless he can do something massive in the final sector, and he's been saving his tyres, and that's why he's slower. But Yoni looks like he could be set to improve the gap to Sven. 0.143 seconds at the moment. 143 thousandths of a second is the lead. Can Yoni take anything else out of him? No, it doesn't look like it. Wait for it to update on the timing screen. No, it doesn't improve. What can Valtteri do? Is he going to be able to improve? Don't think so. Let's see. Yes, he does. A little bit. Oh, no. No, he doesn't. Sorry, looking at the wrong time there. That was about 6 seconds off the pace from Valtteri, so I'm not sure if he's trying a cool-down lap or a slightly slower lap.
Ooh,
Sven gets much closer. Yeah, look at that. 85 thousandths of a second. That's going to be good news to him, let's say. I think that'll encourage him to go out and find a bit more. And he's pushing straight away again. Yoni has gone fastest in Sector 2 this time. Yellow in Sector 1, but he did have the fastest time in Sector 1 before, so that's not too discouraging.
Yeah, this is the difference of 4 points between Yoniemi and Sven de Mel. Even qualifying gives you points. Although it's very few, it's 10% of the race point system. But it can make a difference on, well, I would say even if one finished first and the other one finished second, it's a 30-point difference. But if they perhaps don't even finish on the top 2 positions, even if they don't finish at all, at least 85% of the race, they can still use the qualifying results as the as the points for the finishing results at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. If something were to happen to Sven now and someone was able to go quicker than him and then they both didn't finish a race, that could give Yoni the championship. So he does need to make sure no big mistakes and know what and keep in the good times. Always nice to be the driver going in ahead. Puts you at slightly less risk of an issue due to a DNF. But he had a bit of a cool down lap that time, 6 seconds off the pace. So does that mean this is a push, or is he having 2 cool downs before one last push towards the end? That looks like a push to me. Out wide, potentially picked up an off track there. He did pick up an off track. So ooh. There we go. We see him slowing down. What's the play going to be? He's going to reset to pit lane. That's an interesting call. Fresh tyres and low fuel, it looks like, for one last run. He's not got long to get out, though. We've only got 1 minute and 20 seconds left. So that may be the end of the session, actually, for Sven. Let's see if anybody can put themselves onto the front row and dethrone him, but it doesn't look like it. Yellow sectors pretty much everywhere. A couple of greens on the overall timing board, but no one finding the sort of time they need to jump up and move anyone massively out of the way.
Valtteri Kallio here, Yuriemi's teammate of LSR Esports, still has a purple sector in the first one. Could still do it if this last one is a green at least, perhaps. Let's see. Oh, it doesn't seem like it's gonna be an improvement. Fortunate for him, yeah, he keeps his P3. He can still do one more lap, since, well, it's gonna finish in less than a minute, so he will still be on track before the LMP3s come out. So it has to be this time around that he improves his lap time. Let's see his sectors in a bit, as the others are still doing their own laps. Alex May here in P5 currently, 1 second behind the provisional pole. Has improved a bit on his... Oh, that was in a moment. He improved the second sector at least, as we see the LMP3 get started to...
Yoni Nemi, 2 purple sectors, look at that.
Seems like
Not that it really matters. Sven isn't able to set a better lap time, but he needs to be green again, so not purple, but still an improvement. This will put a marker down going into the race, I think. He'll be pleased to increase that gap over Sven and show what he can do when he really needs to. We're watching him now working the wheel through the penultimate corner. Comes through the final corners now. Can he carry that momentum, or has he used too much of a tyre throughout the lap? He's pushing it right to the limit. Valtteri is not going to improve, so it looks like Sven is going to stay on the front row. What can Yoni do? Does he improve?
He does.
Yes, he does. Into the 33s. No one else could do that in GT4, so that is big news for him.
Seems that Brent Hawkins hasn't gone to the track yet. I guess it's going for the other LMP3s then.
Yeah, so it's Leon. A couple of unfortunate races so far this season.
I think he finished
good performances as well. Doesn't look like he's got all the way to the end. If he has scored points, but don't know.
Yeah, it's
not all the way to the end.
Oh no, he did finish Daytona at least. But the others, he started the race.
Yes, that's the others. Looks like he hasn't finished the other rounds, yeah.
Yeah.
So one great performance from Leon. He'll be looking to replicate that today. There's a few ASR cars in the race today, so let's see if they can do something and work together. It's going to be interesting. An interesting track for this. Maybe the sort of usual suspects might not have quite the advantage they do. It's not a very race track, particularly in this sort of class of car. This is Tom, championship leader by 118 points. He knows what he's got to do today, and that's finish ahead of Brandon. Brandon on his out lap now. But we're going to go through a lap with Tom. Accelerates out of the final corner, coming to the start-finish line. And this is the start of his lap. Into turn 1, nice and tidy. A little bit of a wiggle on the steering wheel, but not too much. Into turn 2. Use as much of the exit as you can, and he does that without going off. Coming up to the hairpin now, braking hard. A little bit early, looked like they're on the brakes, very early apex. See if he can maximise the exit because of that, potentially a deliberate move. Into, again, an even heavier braking zone at the end of this straight. A hairpin into a 90-degree corner after that. Gets it nice and tightly done, brings it round, stays to the right, that's what you want to do. Not a traditional exit you need there, brings it nicely, use as much of the exit curve as you can there, no off track. That's what he needs, carrying on. Final little stretch, little overtaking point on the lap, get it turned in nicely, keep it like you did last time, nice and tight to the left. He does that, well, uses a bit more track than he probably want to, but maybe they'll have a different route round there next time. Penultimate corner, final corner. Now your acceleration is a pretty long run to the line here. You can see on the map the little red dot, that's where the sector begins and ends. A nice long run to the line. That's him. So the lap time is a 1:25.7. Leon a 1:26.0. Jeremy Ostring goes 1:25.9 to go P2. Sebastian van der Helve P5 and P4, and everyone's flying all over the place. Brian Loynes goes P2 a 1:25.8. That's what he'll have wanted to see. The two teammates, first and second at the moment. Brandon only P4. That's big championship implications there. If Brandon can't improve, he's going to have little chance at the championship. Points still distributed for qualifying, so he needs to be closer in that aspect. But he also doesn't want another Altitude Esports car between himself and Tom, because he may be able to hold him up a little bit and let Tom pull away. Good performance from Leon there, who we're talking about before. P5. I know not many people have said a lap time, but only 3 tenths off the leader. Great lap there. Sebastian van der Helve, only P6. Nearly 6 tenths off. Going to be interesting to see. I think we had a few invalidated laps that time round. Jeremy Ostring caught up in a bit of traffic there. A little bit of racing on the hot laps here. Oh, and big contact. That was Kevin Stam, I believe. Both of them potentially on a hot lap, but Kevin a little bit slow. That will definitely be going to the steward's room. Looks like on the replay, Jeremy feels he was held up a little bit there. He was flashing his lights at him on the straight.
Yeah, but if Kevin was on an not an out lap, but actually qualifying lap, he couldn't do anything. Kevin Sam didn't even set a lap before, because I think he got an off track, so he needed to at least win a
responsibility. Yeah, exactly. It's not Kevin's problem to get out of the way.
Yeah.
Going to be interesting to see how the stewards judge that, and whether Kevin was actually on a valid lap that time round. See a 1x on lap 3 for him. He may potentially have gone off earlier that lap as well. Not sure that'll be for the stewards to look at. There you go, under investigation, as you would expect. Oh, Brian, don't think he was that close to Tom before, was he? 4 thousandths a second. Close that gap down. Yes, he has improved on his last lap, it looks like, according to my timing sheet.
Still a chance for him to improve since he did a first purple sector. But also Ruppe, he is getting closer as well to the lap time. Currently in 8th, but 2 good sectors from him.
Yeah, only a couple of corners left to go, so we'll get to see what he does. Tom does improve. That's the 10th between himself and his teammate.
It goes to up to
P3. Wow. Great lap.
And look at that. Brian Lyons gets a provisional pole with 2 purple sectors and 2 yellow sectors. So there's still improvement on his side on the middle parts.
Yeah, impressive from him. Brandon, I was about to say, look what's happened to Brandon. He was down to P6. Looks like he's jumped back up to P4 now, so that was an important lap for him.
It's just him needing to do more laps till he gets it. Even Tom here, it seemed like he was improving. His first sector was purple, but Ruppe already beat that sector from Tom. Both now on 2 yellow sectors. The second one being the yellow sector. Tom's still getting an improvement on his lap time though. It's not over yet for this driver. He still needs that pole position just to guarantee more points here. And of course, being the leader here, starting the race might also be very helpful. As he crosses the line, Tom. It could be an improvement, it seems like it, and it is. But it's not over here. Ruppe also improving his lap time, crosses the line. And he gets, he still stays in P3, but not too far away here.
P3, but an improvement, indeed.
Brandon Hawking now crosses the line here. Can he finally do a good enough lap? But no, he still stays in P5. The lap times aren't even that too far away from each other. It's 2.5 tenths the difference between P1 and P5.
Yeah, very, very close. And that's going to be big implications for the race as well, here. You can see, looking at the track map, we might end up with a little bit of a slipstream train there. Apologies. Yeah, there we go. Got the words out eventually. I think we might end up with a little bit of that with these drivers all being so close. I know you said 2.5 tenths down to P5, but it's still only 7 tenths down to P9. So this is going to be interesting for the championship because Brandon is at the back of that sort of 2.5 tenth pack, so it could help him. But it won't be great for Tom up front, who's currently the championship leader. But Brandon's got a lot of cars to pass at the moment, and he's going to need to pass even more if he only qualifies P5.
Sebastian doing good, already improving 2 of his own sectors, and still not too far away from the provisional pole here. And it crosses the line. It should be an improvement, and it does improve. 3 tenths better than his previous best lap time, and it goes to P6 and instantly goes to P7 as Jeremy Ostring also improves his lap time. They are really fighting here. Also, when you see that Tom finally pushing from the P2 lap time here, now with 2.5 tenths ahead. Currently going slow.
Yeah, that's he's made a big difference there. Is anybody else going to be able to dethrone him? Not seeing any green sectors popping up on the full timing board at the moment. All yellows at the moment. That's not good. Repeat with a green sector 1, and that's it. And I think it's only barely green. A couple more green sectors popping up in the latter half of the lap. Sebastian van der Helve, a pretty decent sector 3 looking at the times compared to the other cars. Is that going to help him potentially jump up a place or 2? But yeah, that's no further action on the incident between the 2 cars earlier on in qualifying. Like we said, I think they were both on hot laps.
It's between Kevin Stem and Jeremy Ostring.
Seb does improve, but not enough. 600 still behind Brandon. So that's potentially it for him, unless he can go for 2 straight hot laps. Kevin Stanley's a big improvement. Currently P10, 2 tenths nearly, well, over 2 tenths off the car in front of him. Tom Dadswell's done a purple sector 1, obviously P1 at the moment anyway. So Tom coming towards the end of the lap. This is going to be it for him in qualifying. What can he do when he gets to the line? That's what's going to matter. Oh, a little bit wide. Doesn't pick up an off track though, don't believe. Have a look. Doesn't pick up the off track now. Does he improve? No, he doesn't. Mark on 2 greens at the moment. Could be the only other driver set to improve.
Whoa, how did Kevin get a second purple sector?
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if he had a bit of a toe there. Comes across the line.
Doesn't look like he was on. But at least he gets away from his second last position. Now he's up to P9.
Yeah.
All the way to P10,
Diogo.
under a second.
Yeah, absolutely great. Great for the race as well. We could end up with an absolute thriller today. Is Kevin going for another lap? I don't believe so, because I think the second's done. This is Diogo, the only person that can push Kevin down a place. Can he do it? No, doesn't look like it, unfortunately. Tom Dadswell with another purple sector. The man who doesn't stop. Coming towards the end of the lap. Important to note for the race here as well, a bit of a tricky pit in before the second to last corner. Is that too wide? Doesn't look like it. Sebastian Van der Hel's had a spin and a crash somewhere further around the lap.
It does improve.
That went mad, and he goes quickest. Quicker
What?
again.
Kevin
Sam with 2 purple sectors. What is going on? Did he get across the line before the checkered flag? He may have done, but he's got to get back quick because the session will end soon, I'm sure. Can he set a great lap here and pull a surprise? Mark Hutchison goes to P3. Kevin Stam, what's the lap time? Puts him P8.
That's, I expected to get even higher, even though he had 2 purple sectors.
I'm actually looking at the sector times, and I think that may have been showing up for purple when it perhaps shouldn't have been. Just looking at the actual times, but they were quick. They were quick, but not. Doesn't look like absolute quickest. Either way, move them up a position, so be pleased with that. 5-minute warm-up, so just go over the championship implications again. Don't have the points from qualifying just yet, but prior to qualifying, 118 points between Tom Dadswell and Brandon Hawkin. Easily could be swung in the race if something happens to Tom, but he's done what he needs to do. He's on pole. Brandon starting much further down, so that is going to be important for the race. Something needs to happen to Tom, really, for Brandon to lose out here, and Brandon with a couple of his teammates starting behind him, that's what he needs. So, sorry, Tom with a couple of teammates starting behind him, that's what he needs to help keep that gap to Brandon. They can really, really help him out here and keep the rest of the pack behind him. Could potentially, they only need to slow everyone down by a couple of seconds a lap to even build up an extra pit stop for Tom. So that's what they need to do. That's going to be the quickest we see a GT4 go today. This is an important time for all of the drivers as well to, there you go, see how close you can run to a GT4, and that's a bit too close. Oh, and Kevin rejoins and tags the other car. Can't be having that in a competitive session. It'll get away with it being warm-up. You might get a warning from the stewards though. So we'll not be pleased by that. And then GT4 Championship. Sven Demel, 2,461 points. Joni Nemi, 2,457 points. Only 4 points separating the two, with plenty of points on offer. That gap will be slightly grown from qualifying, but not by much at all. So that is going to be the important one to watch. That is the most up for the battle, shall we say, position. There's going to be a couple of other positions that can be decided in the championship by the end of the race. Further down the order, with people quite close, so they could be in both classes. That is, they could be some close little fights with drivers trying to do some maths in their head while they're driving as well.
Yeah, we've seen some races where Yoni dominates, some other races that Sven has dominated. But even on the latest rounds, they have been keeping themselves super close. So I really wonder if this is the time that we see... Actually, I just remembered. On the first time that not one of the top 2 drivers won the race was on Jerez. Alex May was the first non-Joni Sven Demel winning the race on GT4 class. And actually was a really exciting race. All the way to the end that these guys were battling. So, Alex May currently qualified a bit further down. I don't think it's going to be much of a trouble for these guys. They are trying to fight it for the championship. But who knows? Maybe qualifying is not Alex May's strongest point anyway. All I know is that isn't like the complete difference between these cars, the BMW and the Porsche, to be completely advantageous for the other car on this track. So it's just really going to be up to driver skill at this point and how confident you are with the car.
Exactly. They seem pretty closely matched, which is great for the final round. And I think another thing that's going to come into play here, particularly in the GT4 class, is the traffic. And if you get an LMP3 trying to get down the inside of you into one of the hairpins at the end of the straight, you could easily be forced out wide and lose quite a bit of time. And in that final sector, it does get quite tight and twisty. And that could cause a few incidents as well. All right, 20 seconds to go, everybody. Ready for a tight finale. 45 minutes of straight action. Lots of battles throughout. We saw how close all of the cars were in LMP3, and we know how close TIE Fighter is in LMP2, and that's the kind of thing you want to be... Sorry, GT4 I meant. And that's the kind of thing you want to be testing out in warm-up and not the race. But we've got checkered flag now. We should see all the cars returning to the pit lane. There we go. That's what happens if you hit your brakes a bit too late and a bit too hard.
Right, so let's go for the grid then, shall we?
Absolutely. Brian Loynes starting P2, and he is second. He's not second in championship, P3 in the championship. A bit too far back at this point to jump Brandon without something happening to Brandon. So him and Mark Hutchinson in P3 will be playing teammate to their teammate in P1. Tom Dadswell starting on pole. He's the car that needs to stay there and stay ahead of Brandon. And Brandon, you can see down in P6, so big work for Brandon to do if he wants to move up. He's got to pass Rupi and Jeremy before he even gets to the altitude cars, so that's a big task for him. These are a great start and a great few opening laps to try and get in this fight up front. Then I'll go through the rest of them. P7, Sebastian van der Helve. P8, Kevin Stam. P9, Leon Elowat. P10, Diogo Teodoro. And P11, Kevin Galvin. I'm not sure if Kevin Galvin is actually with us, but he's definitely on the grid at least. Oh, it looks like he is actually in the session. My mistake. Yoni, P1 as he is in the championship. Oh no, sorry, P2 in the championship, Yoni, and he's starting on pole. Sven Demel starting on second in GT4, but he's P1 in championship. Then we've got Valtteri followed by the second Yoni, Alex May, Joe Taberner, Daniel Ronek in P7, Charlie Lord in P8, and P9 is Johan Bernsteel. We're getting ready to start now. A short warm-up lap round here. We can see the pit lane entry on the right-hand side of the screen. That's going to be important later on. We may get a few people with drive-throughs for incorrect pit entry and people struggling. I hope people have been practicing their starts and their pit lane entries, because that's going to be important later on in the race to not pick up a black flag. We're getting ready for the start, and looks like they're already working together. Tom jumps away as Brian holds up the second lane a little bit. We'll see if that ends up in the stewards office, but they're not playing too fair at the front. The altitude cars, they are fighting through turn one. Oh, and we see Brandon, big move from Brandon. Already passed one of the two teammates, and he's about to make a move on the second before he gets to the altitude cars. Just keep the inside line into the hairpin and you should be through. We can see him fighting very tight here. He is. There we go, a bit of a lockup, but he's through on the inside. Oh, GT4s we got here. Looks like Sven's had a problem. Sven's had a problem, I believe. He's dropped down, showing his P. Yeah, big problems for Sven. What's happened here? He's getting passed down the inside, and he gets tagged. Wow. Not what Sven needed. That could be championship over for him. Looks like the car repaired itself after the impact with the wall, so that would be lucky for him if that is the case. But he's going to have to go on to a bit of an alternate strategy here to try and make up the position, so that's a big loss for him. Whoa, Kevin Stab. Is he all right? He is a little bit late on the brakes. Looks like he might have gotten to the rear of somebody there, but he's all right. He's carried on. Brandon, P4 then, but a little bit back from the cars in front after fighting, and that's Kevin off, being forced off by another Anstal car, it looks like. As they're all getting a little bit silly and a little bit fighty for this stage in the race. Not quite what they should be doing. They should be working together as teammates, so that's a little bit disappointing to see. Tom Dadswell, 7/10 of a second is the advantage over his teammate, so a decent time now, 2 and a bit seconds to P4, Brandon Hawking. Brandon needs to start making some moves as the Doesn't look like they're slowing down, does it? P2 and P3 to back up the rest of the pack, but they're all just trying to pull away and work together. Interesting now to watch Van Demmel's lap times. Is the third and fourth sectors were one of the quickest out there compared to the rest of the field, so he is going to close up that gap. We can see it actually ticking down on your screen as you watch, but GT4's nicely packed up. Joni Nemi at the front made a bit of a gap there to P2. That's what he needs to keep on doing. And here we're watching Sven pushing hard, as you can see.
It's weird, it's still broken. No, I can still see it. So he probably is gonna wait for the fast repair when he pits for fuel. Maybe the earliest possible.
Yeah,
but that's a shame. That's a shame for him. He was leading the championship even though by 4 points. And now he's still to beat. He needs to stay ahead of Joni Niemi, that is, on the race. Somehow it requires a lot of luck for that to happen. As Joni Niemi is now almost 4 seconds ahead of the other Joni Takanen. Even Joni Takanen is being chased down by the other drivers here.
There you go, Kevin Stam and Sebastian van der Helder and Leon van Ellerwatt in that little scrap towards the end of the first lap is under investigation. All teammates there, not really what you want to see. And you can see Sven pushing right to the limit in the background there, trying to catch his pack, which he nearly has done. That's very impressive. And this is, I think, Valtteri on the attack for P2, and he's through. And that could be important because Valtteri was the only driver that seemed able to match the pace of the top two. So that's going to mean that Joni out front has to work a little bit harder than he maybe has been so far. Car 609 and 43 is a racing incident, so that's important for Sven's race. That is being called a no further action necessary incident, so nothing that can be done there. All of this little battling, whilst it may not look like it, is helping Sven get back up to the back of these guys and get in the slipstream. As you can see, look how much gain he's made since the final corner. He's on this pack now, so all hope is not lost for him. But he's going to have to do 45 minutes, or 41 minutes to be honest, of qualifying laps to catch up.
Tidor going the inside here of Rupert. They still struggling, but Rupert gets on the outside and it's the inside the next corner and stays ahead of Tidor. So that's position maintained for Rupert. But still not overhit. Diogo is still super close to him. He's probably going to try it on the outside. And he backs off. We see a crash here from Kevin and Gavin. Just take a quick look. Don't think Kevin and Gavin finished any race either. But let's see how it happens.
Unfortunately, what's going to happen on the grass on the way in? No, that's not it. On the grass again, little twitch. And that's it, yeah. Carrying a bit too much speed and a bit too loose on the way in, it looks like. Sven Demmel is making moves further down the pack.
This was one move also. You see, yeah, John is...
Big incident there.
Out.
Is he going to try and carry on?
I think he is, yeah.
Sven Demmel making more moves down the back. He's passed one into the hairpin. There we go, we can see it now. And he's through. How many more cars has he got to pass? Quite a few still until he gets to the lead. That's one done though. And he did it easy, calmly as well. That's good to see. Easy for him to get a little bit heated in the cockpit after we saw what he's doing there. We saw what happened to him at the start of the race. Understandable why he'd be frustrated with that. He's pushing the car to the absolute limits, and there we see a bit too much there. That's wide, that's a 1x. Don't get too many of them. He's already on 3 incident points. Can't have too many.
Brian Arkin is already in P3.
Wow. We missed something there. Something's happened to Brian. He's lost a couple of places.
Let's just see what happened to Brian here. So, this is how Brian... Oh, that's how he locked up.
That's a very, very weird little lock up in the middle of the corner, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and he missed 2 positions from that.
So that's a chink in Tom Dadswell's armour that's been compromised, and Brandon goes quickest of all in Sector 2, so that's important to note, because he's still on a push and he still thinks he can do this.
There's something off with that car. It seems like it's doing a lot of smoke now.
Yeah, very slow for some reason there. I don't know if he's had a little bit of contact somewhere.
Right.
Sven Demel making more moves around the back. If we could get on the GT4s. There we go. We come out always alongside, but he has to duck back behind. This is the problem. The other cars are in a tow. He needs to time his moves correctly and make sure he can get through. It's helping him stay with the pack. There we go. He's going to go for a move down the inside, and it's late and it's too late, and he can't get it through, and he has to back out, and he'll be kicking himself because that's lost him time and possibly lost him an opportunity in the next proper overtaking zone. Watching Leon here. What's happened here? Too much speed, and then, yeah, not enough brakes. Can he get back onto the track? Okay, he can. Tucked back in behind his teammate.
At least he keeps going.
And Sven seemingly stuck behind the Aston Martins at the moment, having their own little fight, but he needs to get through. So is there anything he can do? Like we say, he's still using as much of a track as he can. You can see how the car gets a little bit unsettled by the curves, but he's going to carry on doing it. Absolute limit. And that he needs to... Looks like he's overdriving a little bit on the entrance and needs to maximise his exit because the Astons are all pulling away on the exit. Can he do anything here? Go around the outside as the car's in front?
I would say it's the damage he has. It's limiting his at least downforce because he couldn't really get the grip on the track, on the car.
Yeah, it looks like, I think like you said before, he'll need to be in as soon as possible. Oh, that's a good little situation for him there. The car in front has to lift up. That's going to help him stay a little bit closer. Brandon up to P2. We're still fighting him. Can he stay there? Mark's going to do everything he can to help his teammate out here, but Brandon isn't giving up yet. Winner of all of our TCR championships, of course, and they made the switch to LMP3 this season. And we've got Sven looking like he's going to get the move done this time round. Can he stay late enough on the brakes? He can. There's contact, but he's through. Bodies the Aston Martin out of the way a little bit, but fair play to him, to be honest. He got squeezed a little bit on the apex service. Brandon still fighting with Mark. He's back on the attack. Brandon going to be on the inside for the corner. Brandon will be better just... Yeah, there we go. Making sure he comes out ahead. Don't worry about the speed. And now he's got 3.8 seconds to chase down to Tom. Tom, who currently has the fastest lap of the race, but only about 400ths quicker. And he does lose a lot of time in that traffic, so let's see what Brandon can do next time round in clean air. And his altitude car's looking a little bit weaker as the stint goes on. So does that say something? With Brandon just gained a massive chunk of time. I think there might have been a little bit of a mistake there from Tom. Sven still pushing to get past the Aston Martins, and all of his time he's behind, losing more and more and more time to the class leader.
The LMP3 leaders are getting really close now to the back of the GT4s as Sven de Mel goes on the inside, pushes the car as much as he can now with the throttle, try and stay on the inside line. He still make it. Let's just see if he has enough speed compared to the Aston Martin. It doesn't look like it, does it?
Not enough straight line speed, no. And the Aston in front, I wonder if he's got a bit of top speed damage from that incident. Can he? Oh, he's going to try and go around the outside of the Aston Martin. That's brave and late. I hope the car in front's seen you, and he can't make it work though. And that's put him at risk from the car behind, but he tugs back in. Fortunately, just in time. Last time round, the leaders in LMP3, about a tenth separate them in favour of Tom. But looks like this lap, Brandon has taken a significant chunk out of him so far round. So we'll see what it is by the end of the lap. This is Tom now. Important for him. He's catching this traffic whilst Brandon's managed to get free air. So this is a bit of a switch around of fortunes. And with all these cars, it's going to make it more difficult to pass one at a time, especially with Sven trying to make his way through this pack. So what's Sven going to do? He's going to have a look at the Aston Martin in this corner. He's not. But this is there we go. We said it would hold up Tom, and it is. He's caught behind. Last lap, half a second in favour of Brandon. That's what Brandon needs.
Oh!
Whoa, and he can't. That's
a touch?
big championship implications, because that could be a big penalty coming for Tom, and that could drop him multiple places down. I think winning this race won't be enough for Brandon. Brandon needs Tom to get a penalty or two and drop down a few more places, and that could be it. And this could be even worse for him. Oh, and more contact. That's going to be a penalty as well. The LMP3 trying to sneak it around the outside where there just wasn't enough space. That could be a big penalty for Mark, falling apart for the altitude cars at the moment.
We have to check this later. For now, let's just keep going, watching what these drivers are overtaking the slower class.
Look at that lead now, 1.5 seconds. That's how much time he's been able to take out of him this lap. It was a second in the first sector, just over. 1.2 seconds now. Big gains for Brandon, and can Brandon catch the traffic at a more ideal time? That's what's going to be important. It looks like he did with most of it. And has that contact given damage? Down to 1 second. Perhaps there's damage on Tom's car from the incident. And look at Brandon, very elegant through the traffic. He's been chased by another altitude car still, but very elegant through the traffic, and you can see them all now in the same shot. Just be careful, guys. 10-second time penalty for Tom Dadswell, causing a collision. That's big implications right now. That's going to drop him pretty much out of the top 10 even.
Still a long race, still 30 minutes to go. Oh, and what happened now behind? What is happening to these overtakes on slow class?
Another GT4 gone off there. What was that? I think that was Valtteri. Oh no, potentially not. Another car liveried like his that had contact there.
And look at that, the battle between Brian Lawrence and Jeremy Austin. Jeremy Austin just staying on the inside and not giving any turns for Brian Lawrence.
Important move for Brian, because that means he can join the fight with Brandon, which is what he needs to do. Brandon's gained 4 tenths or so back on this lap, but you have to say, Tom's gained some time back on this lap, but Brandon was held up, and then Tom was held up just there, so that's going to be important for Brandon, back down to a second gap. Don't get caught behind this GT4. Thread the car through nicely. GT4 obviously can place the car how he wants it. He does. Keeps the corner for himself. Smart move from him there. It's a time penalty for the 38 car. That's Jeremy Ostring. That's more good news for the altitude cars now. So that's going to get... Well, it's going to give more positions back to Tom at the end of the race. If another car is penalised, and that drops him behind him, obviously. But Brandon, free air now. Both of them. This is going to be a straight fight this lap. No more cars between the two of them. And while we've been watching all this, Sven is back up to P4 in class. So he just needs to carry on that grind. But he is a long way back off the leader now, about 15 seconds. And in the first sector, Tom Dadswell does the fastest first sector overall. 1/10 or so quicker, at least, than Brandon. Looking at the timing screen, it only goes to 1 decimal place, unfortunately, on my timing screen. Middle sector looks to be pretty much matched. But this penalty for Tom might just secure the championship for Brandon, potentially, because it's going to drop him down. See Kevin Stam making a move further back, it looks like.
There was so much happening in those 1 to 2 laps. I don't even know where to start.
That's a time penalty for Brian Loynes as well. So perhaps not what Brian will have wanted, but that will again help his teammate Tom lose 1 less position, which will matter in the championship, I believe.
Yeah, it will. So now what the loyalty to these sports like Mark Hutchison and Brian Lynch just need to do is just get more 10-second penalties so that they stay behind Tom Dadswell.
Exactly. They need to now. I don't think there's much they can do about Brandon unless Mark can get back past him. The rest of them, the other driver, I believe that's Brian, just needs to work on backing up the rest of the pack. This is Kevin and Diego having a little bit of a scrap behind one of the GT4s. They both get by. Kevin gives him a wide berth. This is Sven up to P4, closing in on P3. I would believe won't be too long until he could do an early pit stop, which will be what he chooses to do, you would imagine.
Yeah, but even so, I'm just figuring out, it's a 10-second lead between Yoni and Alex May, and Sven de Mel just needs to finish ahead of Yoni. If luck that we've seen, terrible luck even for some of the drivers, just getting hit by the LMP3 cars, maybe it might be enough. As we see another, the number 28 now gets the 10-second penalty.
So that's pretty much everyone. In fact, I believe that is everyone in the top 5, apart from Brandon Hawking, has a 10-second time penalty.
Oh yeah.
So Brandon playing it cool
no, wait,
and smart, and that's
it?
advantage.
Did Mark get one? Number 33.
Oh, I do not know. That's a good point. Potentially not. So Mark might be the only other car that doesn't. So Mark needs to stay on the back of Brandon and try and get through.
This was a big loss of time for Kevin Stem. I wonder if it's too much of the outside left corner.
A little bit hot there, yeah.
Yeah.
Came in a little bit hot and the rear couldn't handle it.
Right, so let's just see if we can check out some of those accidents that we saw, right?
Yeah.
Well, finally it stabilized a bit. Let's see. I think it was Joe Taverner. It does get hit by...
Yeah, turns him. Yeah. That's why that penalty was given.
That was one of them. Then we have Daniel Ronke on the straight. I think he was on the straight. By Brian Lund.
So.
Or was it...
Yeah, it was the...
It was Brian Lund,
yeah. Looks like he... Can we see it again on board potentially from Brian's point of view? I don't know if that's possible to do. I think it looks like he maybe goes for a gap that doesn't quite exist. But let's see. Closing gap around the outside, he has to be aware of that. Yeah, he's going to try and sneak through. That's not a move he should be making.
No.
Barely felt it in the car. Should have gone to the other side. I know it's unfortunate as an LMP3 if you do get trapped in between cars, but it's your responsibility to make sure anything that's done is safe. So Tom actually been able to stretch the laps. He did the fastest lap of the race last lap. And he's just done another fastest sector 1. So gap out front is up to 2.32 seconds again. So 2.5 seconds nearly. So Brandon needs to be thinking of just keeping Mark behind and not falling 10 seconds back. But he could, at this rate, definitely fall 10 seconds back by the end of the race. So that is not what he needs. Oh, and he's having a look. Mark's having a look.
Then the mill finally pits then.
Really... there we go. In as soon as he could, it looks like.
He's going to try and fix that damage.
All of his... Yeah, take all of his repairs and all of his fuel on board.
Thankfully, he does have one fast repair, so it's instantly.
Yes, of course. So that will help him out massively.
Just a matter of when he exits the pit, is he gonna get the traffic? Look, it is just now exiting the pit while we have, well, P2, most of the LMP3s now just closing in on the start finish line. Ooh, that was big moment there for Brian Lawrence. He almost lost it, set a bit too much on the gravel, but he is still on track. And now, yeah, we see that Sven de Mil is gonna have some trouble here. For example, the leader here of the LP3 is now closing in. But at least after this little bit of track, because it's a big distance between P5 and P6, and hopefully it is on the straight, he's not going to lose too much time. But it's still a lot of time to get Yoni Nemi there.
Yeah, absolutely. Last 2 laps of the race, the leader, Tom Dadswell, has been 4/10 of a second quicker over the lap. Brandon has, so starting to rebuild his lead, and at that rate he could even potentially build up that 10-second gap he needs to. So this isn't over yet for Tom, especially with lots of other cars having penalties. Still a very good chance that he could finish where he needs to.
Ben just keeps doing his regular racing line, so...
Yeah, obviously the results that are on the screen at the moment don't include penalties, and penalties won't be added until at the end of the race, but as soon as the race is finished, we will get you the provisional results from the stewards. obviously a little bit difficult to track with currently almost everybody having a penalty of some description in the lead. When it was just Tom with the penalty, that could have meant big things for Brandon, but I believe Tom can afford to finish a position or so behind before he gets at big risk of losing this championship. Especially after Tom's great qualifying performance will have helped him out, I'm sure. Mark still half a second behind Brandon. Had a radio there from Leon, but couldn't quite make it out.
He is in the pits.
Possibly just a pitting in notification then.
I think he's the first of the piece of pit. Let's just real quickly see.
I believe Kevin Stam has been in.
Oh yeah, he has.
It. Charlie Lord in the pit lane, Alex May in the... Oh no, sorry, just Charlie Lord and Joe Tabner in the pit lane in GT4. It's going to be important ones to watch for Sven. He should come out ahead of them, we would expect. It's an instant there between Leon and one of the GT4s under investigation. Get it here we go.
Oh!
Sorry, Sebastian and not Leon. There we go.
That was
what that is for.
Can we see the onboard right here? That was so...
That's an interesting move. I wonder if Sebastian was expecting the McLaren to turn in a little bit.
No, I think it could be the McLaren just braked way too early than normal, doesn't it? Possibly.
Yeah, I think the McLaren maybe moved to the outside expecting Seb to dive down the inside. Obviously not what he should be doing.
Yeah, and you should never, as a slow class car, just slow down on the middle of the track. You just all the faster cars just need to go around you. That's how it should be. Ooh, big moment there from Brandon Hawkin there. Big block up. It closed down onto Mark Hutchinson there, but they still keep each other on the same positions. It's just been that the gap now to Tom Dazzle has just gotten bigger. Sven de Mel is 47 seconds behind Valtteri. And of course, then you have another 11 seconds of Alex May to catch. Top 3 of the GT4 class still need to pit, but you don't lose that much time, about, I would say, 30 seconds, I think. And there you go. It is unpredictable braking for the McLaren driver of John Brinstill.
Interesting call there from Race Control, but they've got all the data. Mark still right on the back of Brandon, and Brandon still falling back a little bit too much. Only a 10th last lap, but still falling back more than he would really want to be from the leader. But this could all change in the pit lane. 3.4 seconds. There's not a lot of time. And it looks like Sven Demel, currently the leader of the pitted GT4s, I believe. We could see traffic playing out into the GT4 battle, so track position been quite far apart, and quite significantly apart before the pit stops. This could be important for Sven. He's going to have clean air now to run. Watching Sven, he had a bit of a moment here though. Ooh, just wide into the gravel. We'll be able to carry on.
A new part of the road he discovered.
Absolutely. Mark pounding Brandon now. Very close. He's gaining. Is he going to be close enough for a little dive into turn 1? He's not, no.
The gap still stays pretty much the same between these two drivers. But I wonder which one. Ooh! Well, never mind. Mark Hutchinson now just lost a bit. I was gonna wonder when one of these is gonna pit first. But let's just go real quick to Leon. Something happened to them.
I think Leon's had a spin and he's in the pit lane now, so as he hit the wall, Oh, looks like he's going to hit the wall. Damage the front suspension. Yeah.
Yeah. Leon, again, having real difficulty of finishing a race.
Oh, Mark, careful there, careful there. He just gets through. Brandon given a bit of breathing space now. Oh no, because Mark is able to follow right through.
Is it time for them to pit now? Apparently not.
They could. A lot of them have been. But no one up front just yet. Right, can we see pit stops for GT4 if that's possible?
Yes.
Oh, there we go. So all but the top 3 have pitted. Now the gap to Sven when Valtteri comes out of the pits, when he does pit, is what's going to be important. You would expect they can't go much further. 2/3 of the race now gone into the sort of final section of the race. We would expecting people to be pitting around now.
Oh, what happened to Diogo? He just went a bit off track though. But I guess he's still on the road. Well, I was gonna say, this timing isn't correct right now. Sven is 1 lap behind. It's because of the pit stops that the cars ahead have been doing. They kept the positions even though they pitted, but it's still 30 seconds behind Sven over Valtteri. But he is doing some fast lap times now. Ooh! That was really close between your shoulder. Brandon,
Oh, there we go.
immediately.
Mark having a move round the outside on Brandon. Brandon's going to shuffle him all the way to the outside, but that might be it. Brandon's going to try and cut back, is he? No, he's going to try and hang it around the outside. That's not going to work. Wow, big move there. Surprised we didn't see Brandon dive for pit lane, actually.
Yoniemi finally
Would have been
pits.
Michael.
That's the GT4 leader. Already in the pits, Alex May continues. No, he also pits. Valtteri Caio also pits, so that means...
Whoa!
That was a touch.
Whoa! Contact.
Oh.
Was that contact?
Yeah,
Very
because
close if not. Very close if not.
I think Alex forgot where the pit entry was. You started to break where the white line was instead of the yellow cone. That's something you need to practice, fella.
That's why it's important. You need to do practice pit stops as we said before the race. Right, Sven Demmel was about 12 seconds, I believe, before the pit stops behind the leader. Maybe slightly more. Where's he going to come out now? That's what's important. You can see the time ticking down.
Of who?
Watching Sven to see where he comes out relative to the leaders. The leaders are on the pit exit now, though, as Sven comes around the final corner. So he's not going to get any of these guys, but he's going to be very close. Look at that. I think that's closer than he was before the pit stops. Yeah, gap's still about 14, 15 seconds where we think he was before the pit stops, but he's gained on these two, kept the gap to the leader static.
So I wonder if that little tap was anything to report by our receivers looked at. I don't think it was too much of an issue. I mean, they both tipped it, they both repaired the damage, so...
I can't actually see any
Ooh.
incident point showing. Whoa.
Did you see
Was that Tom in the wall?
He
Did
did
he tap
scratch
the wall
it.
there?
He tapped it, yeah, but it's fine. He can still repair it and keep going. Now, the
That's
top
very true.
5, no. Brian Hawkins still goes. So does Brian Lawrence and Jeremy Ostring. So that's just the altitude drivers of Tom Desville and Mark Hutchinson that were kind of working together. Mark just trying to walk a bit, Brandon. They're the only ones that pitted. Only the top 4 now remain. Rupic keep going. Actually, Diogo Theodoro also is on the track. He didn't pit. 30 minutes in. Still 15 minutes to go. That's more than half of the race done. And we still have 5 cars that haven't pitted. Now, the other made the undercut here from Mark Hutchinson probably work and still keep himself ahead of Brandon Hawken. Brandon Hawken currently doesn't have any traffic ahead of him. As soon as he gets out of the pit, I think he has to pit now. This is the right lap for him to pit. But hopefully this lap from him is really quickly.
So. Let's see, does he dive?
He does.
Pit entry.
All of them does.
He doesn't. So, he does very late entry.
The CFT
don't
nailed
get
it.
any penalties.
Ooh, okay.
Brandon, you've got the win. Whoa!
What?
No, no. Show for me, so I think he's alright. He got away with it.
See how Diogo does his speed entry as well.
Yeah. It's interesting now. Oh.
Does it well. Tom does well now.
Involving Tom is out of Brandon's control. He needs to keep. Brian just needs to keep. Sorry. Brandon just needs to
Oh,
keep
look!
Brian behind him.
They got
And,
outside.
and that's all he has to do in this race. Oh, inside each other. There we go. Ooh, that was close.
That was completely realistic.
Yeah, all Brandon needs to do to win the race. All Brandon needs to do to win this race is stay ahead of Brian. So he doesn't need to worry about anyone else, just staying ahead of him. That's all that matters right now.
With the current, well,
Says
this
the
is
fight.
intervals between each other, yes. But we can still see Tom maybe picking up the pace and distancing himself from the other drivers. It really depends on how long this race and each other's spaces and when they go through traffic again. If they lose time, it really depends on a lot of factors. That's why endurance racing in general is so fun to watch and even participate, because anything can happen on a certain period of time, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Currently, Brandon Hawkin, yeah, he is just Sven. He is behind Mike Hutchinson, which was his first target to get through. So it did help Mark Hutchinson to.
But Mark has pitted, hasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he has. Everyone has pitted now. Everyone.
Yeah. But Mark has a penalty, right? Oh, I don't know.
Mark, no, I don't think. It was Tom Dadswell, Brian Loin, and I think Jeremy Osing. I don't remember what Mark did to get a penalty.
Yes, I remember now. Mark was behind Brandon, wasn't he, when he got through?
He was, yeah.
So Brandon currently not going to win the race, which I think he may need to do. Oh, hello. Paolo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
There we go. Sorry, my internet dropped out for a second.
It didn't even. It wasn't noticeable.
Right, okay. It's good. So Sven just watching these two in front of him fight to the podium. If he can't win the championship, he'll want to finish second, but it seems like the best he can do at the moment unless there's an issue with Yoni up front.
Look at. Oh, they touch each other!
Can he get through? Whoa, and no. Oh no, and that's gonna. It gives Sven both the positions, but he lost a couple of seconds there, having to slow down.
Well, it makes it easier for Sven de Mel to get the pass, of course. But
yeah, absolutely.
How can Sven de Mel reduce that 18-second gap in 10 minutes? That's I don't think that's possible at all.
Yeah, we're gonna get a straight fight now between those two. So let's see what happens. 18 seconds in 10 minutes is a big ask. Potentially wants to just get it down to 8 and hope and get the gap down to by 8 seconds, so it's under 10, and hope that there's some sort of penalty coming for Yoni. But he's stayed out of trouble so far. So it looks like Yoni will win the championship then in GT4.
You know, I don't want to put the fireworks already. Of course, anything can happen. You can still get hit by another car. But it's such a big gap that even if he spun, he would lose like about 10 seconds. I think he could realistically still keep going and stay ahead of Sven de Mel. There we go. A 5-second penalty for Valtteri Kallio. He was the car that was behind of Alex May. They tried to go on the inside on that, what did you call it? Was it a hairpin? No, it has a proper name. It's called Atwood Corner. It's this one. of course.
Yes.
Oh, that is so close. Oh, they're almost like Jeremy Ostring was gonna hit him. You can even see all the tire smoke that he did.
Yeah, this is sort of falling apart for Brandon now. I know Brian has a penalty, but
Yeah, Brian being ahead of him simply doesn't help. Of course, he needed a lot more than being one position ahead of Tom Dadswell. Brandon, that is. He needed like 3 or 4 positions. Unlike Sven de Mel, who only needed 1. But now he has too many seconds behind of the current race leader of the GT4 class. Seems like things finally calmed down a bit. Of course, the LMP3s are still overtaking some of the GT4s.
and look at this now. Tom Dadswell leads by 4.9 seconds, 5 seconds to his teammate, and not too much behind to the next car. At this point, Brandon isn't even going to finish ahead of him at this rate.
No.
Tom's going to be able to keep stretching out that gap and use his teammates to ensure he finishes in the lead.
Even though we are seeing Usep with the fastest lap suddenly.
Yeah, great about that.
We are seeing the top 3 currently being the Altitude Esports drivers, but the position will change a bit when we see the penalties go through.
Of course, I forget that Brian has a penalty as well.
Yeah.
But Brian could then sacrifice himself. Like, if you look at the gap from P1 to P4, it's nearly 10 seconds anyway now. He's only about 5, 6 tenths away from being that 10 seconds. So it looks, at this rate, at this point,
we can see
like
it from
Mark
here.
will win the race.
There we go. It's
Yeah,
still
so
over
right
10
now,
seconds.
With sort of the pace that we're seeing from the different cars, it looks like Mark will win this race. Tom will finish second, and Brandon will finish third, which obviously is not enough for Brandon to win the championship.
No, it isn't.
Oh, big move here. Brian could end up another place down. Jeremy Ostring also has a penalty, though, of course. Valtteri, Kayo, and Alex May fighting for P3 after they had that.
Is he going to do it again?
Earlier on.
He is going on the inside again, but this time...
He's going to try.
This time Alex May just
gives
gave
him a little bit more room that time, yeah.
Okay, I didn't see what this was, but... yeah, I mean, I think tried to overtake Brendan Holken. And something is wrong with Kevin Stem. That he was off track. 5 minutes to go now. 5 minutes before we finish our last round of the sports car series here in Intisal Racing. Last round being on Okayama. What did you think about this series so far? Till now.
The racing has been absolutely great. These two classes work together really well.
No way! It's not over, the drama here. It was between teammates too. So we see here
in his chase of Brandon, is there going to be... Oh, that's going to be a difficult one for Stewards, I have to say.
Yeah.
Perhaps the LMP3 going where he shouldn't have been around the outside, and the GT4 going, he might be my teammate, but he's still not going around the outside, and that's led to both of them either in the pit lane or significant damage. So Brandon now outside by far of the 10 seconds, nearly 13 seconds back now. Yeah, just over. So it looks like Tom is going to win. Looks like Tom will win the championship in LMP3. And Yoni will win the championship in GT4. So, all things considered, the winners of this race are going to win the championship, and they have had to win to do that. So, they've both done exactly what they needed to do. They've both done. Tom, despite having a 10-second penalty, looks like he's still going to finish on the podium, potentially in second place. And if he can keep stretching this gap out as he is to Mark, potentially even to win the race. So great performances from both of the leaders, as they have been, you have to say, all season. I mean, obviously Tom and Brandon, the only two drivers to win a race in LMP3, so absolutely great from those guys, and they're giving us a great championship battle. Brandon not able to put up with Tom's pace today, but I think altitude have come here with the mentality, all three cars, probably a lot of testing to get the setup in the right window, and it's worked for them. Brandon, a solo car operation in this series, so obviously comes with its own.
Have you seen it's been happening through the whole lap. Brandon's just like not getting any control of the car for some reason. Is it tire wear?
A little bit loose.
I don't think it's damage. It's just it feels like the car is slipping off from him. Look how he does the corner.
So no, yeah, so correct. Yeah, there's a correction there already in the wall.
Just keeps overseeing.
They're very interesting. Yeah.
Let's just the slow corners is the ones that you notice it the most.
Yeah, of course. And
Let's see
more
this
waiting
one.
for him to get there. Oh yeah, you can see he's apprehensive even on the way in. A big moment there, and again, just struggling to put the power down in particular. Essentially taking a bit too much out of the wrist. And this is what I was saying, the altitude guys, there's 3 of them. For every hour of practice that Brandon does, the altitude guys are essentially getting 3. I know that doesn't translate to Tom getting 3 hours of practice, but it does give them 3 hours of experience of setup work and tyre management and working out, you know, maybe we're not going to be quite as quick in absolute pace, but we're going to be able to manage a tyre a little bit better if we make this aero adjustment or this suspension adjustment. So they will have been advantaged by that, and it has been the case all season. So it's been absolutely great to see Brandon able to compete with them, and in particular able to compete with Tom as their fastest car, the only driver, I suppose, outside of an altitude car that's also won a race in LMP3, and in GT4 with Jonny and Sven. Sven with a very unfortunate start to the race today. Oh, Diogo off in the gravel there. But Sven with a very unfortunate start to the race today. Bit incident that put him in the wall. What's happened to Charlie? Oh, Diogo, here we go. Carried a bit too much speed. Yeah, we've seen a few LMP3s doing that today.
This is what happened to Charlie, I think, on the same corner. Oh no, he's just taking a bit more liberty on the track there.
Keeps it going though. Nicely held. So Sven unfortunately wasn't able to fight Jonny today, but Jonny did what he needed to do in qualifying, and Sven was a little bit too cautious on the start, lost a few positions, and then sort of got freight trained whilst trying to avoid these issues.
White flag now.
If we look at, there we go. If we look at the incident count as well, Jonny is on 0 and Sven is on 12. So Jonny's not even had to really push or go to the absolute limit to build the gap that he has done. So he's demonstrated great pace all day. And I mean, Sven, since getting past the cars behind, has demonstrated great pace as well. There was a little incident, but he has tended to be quicker than them. So it is very unfortunate for Sven what happened at the start of the race. But ultimately, they both had great seasons. And I hope we get to see them back racing each other again in this place for a title, because it does make for absolutely great stuff to watch and great stuff to follow along with, because when we see him flashing his lights, Jonny on the last lap saying, I don't know if the LMP3 in front of him is going slow or something, but is it his teammate? He's certainly, I think he might want him to come across the line of him. You can see him flashing him still.
Look at how much time now Brandon lost to Brian Loynes there. Just something about it feels like the setup was just not
I don't think. Yeah, I don't think we saw him have any contact, did he? He did tag the wall on the way into the pit lane. Oh no, sorry, that was Tom, wasn't it? So yeah, not sure what happened. You can see it every corner, struggling a little bit.
Yeah, but again, as you said, with the setups, as Tom Dassel crosses the line here and wins the championship. But as you said,
wins the race, wins the championship.
No, he doesn't win the race.
Great.
Mark Hutchinson.
No, he won't. Mark will win the race. Comes across the line first, but he's not going to win the race. Mark will be on the top step at the podium once the results are finally published. Brian, so it's a 1-2-3 for altitude on the track, Brandon is going to finish just on the podium. That's great news for him. And I think Yoni is about to come across the line. And he is. And he's going to win the race by 23 seconds nearly. And wins the championship as well. Sven will be disappointed in today. But overall...
You know what? I don't think even if Sven didn't have that accident the first lap.
I think absolutely.
Yes, Yoni was just really quick. It was just really quick.
Great pace all race, yeah.
Yeah.
And again, Yoni, I believe, is the only car from his Sven. Sorry, the only BMW driver in the series. So that's brave overall. But the only car from his team, Yoni, does have at least one teammate, I believe. We see the altitude cars celebrating with Brandon in the background. Oh, we're going to try and push each other. Is someone out of fuel?
No, just making a little line of teammates. Speaking of teammates, we could have some of the empty stall racing as well, but I guess it didn't go well for the team. They were having a lot of trouble in general.
No, Sebastian Mandel, a great job to finish up in P6 in the end. And I believe fastest lap of the race as well. Yeah, fastest lap of the race. So, something to be proud of. Did show pace. Hopefully something you can translate over a whole season next year.
There we go. Unfortunately, I cannot show the separate classes, so I'm just gonna say it here. So yeah, Tom Dadswell finished in first place, but he will get a 10-second penalty. Mark Hutchinson finishes P2, Brian Lawrence P3, Brian Hawkin in P4, Rupi Kupipa in P5, Sebastian van der Hoeven in P6, Dirk Tudor in P7, Kevin Stam P8, Aldiana P3 class, Jeremy Oostring in P9, P10 for Leon Elwood, and P11 for Kevin Gavin. As for the GT4 class, we see Joni Niemi winning the race with a big margin. Sven de Mel in P2, a nice recovery from him. P3 for Alex May, Joni Takkanen in P4, Charlie Lloyd in P5, Joe Taberner in P6, Valtteri Kallio in P7, Daniel Ronke in P8, and Johan Brunsell in P9. So that is it for our sports car series. Let's just go for a quick interviews. I think Biden here would like a word possibly. Brendan, my friend.
Hello.
Well, it was a really tough battle for you, wasn't it? It even seems like you were struggling really hard on the last part of the track. Like the car was going all over the place. Was it just not a good setup for you this time?
Yeah, so I ran I've been running basically the same setup the whole season, and I think like I don't know, there's got to be like something fundamentally wrong or something. I think for most of the season I might have been okay because I think most of the tracks we went to were like had pretty short corners. But the last two, I don't know, I've just been like struggling terribly in the really long corners. If I don't get loose on entry, I from the middle to exit, I just like cannot touch the steering or gas after like 20 minutes, and so I'm gonna have to I'm gonna start fresh and see what I can come up with for next season. But man, that was still a lot of fun. It was a gigantic handful, but man, had some really great battles there with like Mark, Brian, Jeremy. That was some good stuff. Trying to fight them off while trying not to spin out, but man, yeah, just another like awesome performance there by Tom. I had nothing for him. There was towards the beginning there, I caught the lap traffic or the GT4s at the right spot, and I was able to gain a second or two there, but after that, I was holding on there for a little bit, and then as the race went on, I just got worse and worse and worse. So yeah, I was just holding on there, but man, great stuff from him. Man, yeah, I gotta put some work in. Just I don't know, change. I'm just gotta changing everything. I'll just like start at the top, go all the way down to the bottom, see what I can do to get a little bit better in the like the long / fast corners. It seems to be both, but yeah, we'll see what we can do. But man, what a season! That was so much fun the entire time, and man, we had a great field size throughout the entire season. So man, really great stuff. And I'm not sure who won GT4s. It might have been Sven. It might have been Yoni. I'm not sure. Congrats to either of them, whoever won. And man, I can't wait to come back next time because that was a really great season.
Yeah, about your question, it was Yoni who won. He got ahead of Sven de Mel. Unfortunately for Sven de Mel, he got into an accident on lap 1. And all he needed to do, Sven, is finish ahead of him because it was only a 4-point difference. Close? Yeah, it was a 4-point difference.
Man, congrats to Yoni then. Had a lot of fun racing him in TCR, and man, he did a great job all season. So congrats to both of them. Actually, they put on some great shows. They put on some great shows throughout the whole season. So yeah, great stuff to them as well.
I forgot. Yeah, he was on TCR, also on the same team, of course, and he was really good at qualifying, especially, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah, and yeah, you could tell throughout the season he was just getting faster and faster and faster, and man, yeah, he's doing really well. So yeah, good stuff to him.
All right, Joe, you want to have any questions?
No, I think you've covered pretty much everything, Brandon. So thanks for another great season with us as well. No, you'd be disappointed not to win, but second place and the only other driver to win a race is still pretty good record.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really disappointed at all. That was like I knew it was going to be a tough task going in. Something bad was going to have to happen to Tom, and you know, yeah, just yeah, a couple small things throughout the season, but like it was so difficult. Nobody could make any mistakes throughout the entire season, and man, yeah, Tom did a really great job at being consistent throughout the entire thing, and man, yeah, just couldn't quite get it, but we'll see if we can get it next time.
Yeah, especially when you started outside of the top 5 on the first race, went on to the top 5, then a podium, and then a race went like was like a sequence, and even to be that close to the championship fight was a really impressive job you did, especially after being adapted to the TCR series and then going for this one. It was really nice to see you grow as a driver in this class.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was a ton of fun. Just like tinkering with it, just learning how the setups work. I'm still don't have it down yet, but you know, I'm getting there. And I think like throughout the season, I felt like I had some pretty good speed. So yeah, we'll just try and figure out a couple different like different types of tracks, I guess, like this and Jerez, and yeah, we'll see if we can get back stronger next time.
All right. Thank you so much, Brandon, and hopefully see you on the next season that we will announce soon.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one, and yeah, definitely we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
All right, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
So, any closing words, George?
No, just well, I guess just a big thank you to everybody for another great season with us, and as Paolo said a few moments ago, keep your eyes peeled for next season. A couple of potentially new things coming as well. So yeah, just keep your eyes out and get ready to join.
Indeed. All right, thank you so much, everyone, for watching, for participating, for all your support, and hopefully you come back for us on the next season. We have more stuff planned for you guys, so stay tuned. Goodbye.
All right.